Sheriff Ryan, first up. All right, Sheriff, you started your law enforcement career in 1989 with the Lebanon Police Department. Since that time, what are some of the changes you've seen with the way police interact with the community and the way the community interacts with the police?
I've seen drastic changes since I've started. Me and police chief started about the same time. And over the years, we've seen more responsibility put on law enforcement. I have to say it this way because we're dealing with more stuff than we did years ago. We're dealing with, there's a very large mental health problem in this country. We're having to deal with it. The country or the state don't want to deal with it, let the police handle it. We're dealing with a bad drug problem. We're dealing with, you name it, we're dealing with it. And it's changed the way we approach things over the years than when I first started. But the restrictions and the guidelines and all the training that we're required to do now to stay in front of these type of situations, I can guarantee you the departments inside this county are staying in front of it.
Special programs implemented in schools in the last decade or so, such as SROs and zero tolerance policies. A lot of people have said that it kind of gives it a criminalization in schools. And I want to get your thoughts on that. How do you feel about, it's been called the pipeline prison system in Ocean. How do you all feel about that?
Here we go, it's me again, right? I brought up one thing that you said something about SROs. The SROs are not there, they're there to protect the children. Again, no secret about what's been going on in this country as it relates to school shootings and different things like that. And that's what's driven that us putting SROs in the schools. Who would ever think we could have to put an SRO or officer in an elementary school? We do. But I get more and more compliments from people, administration, parents, about how safe them schools feel with that officer inside, with that patrol car parked out front. Can something still happen? Yes, it could. And I just say this, the schools are more safer with them SROs in them. And we're one of the only counties in the state that has them in every school in the county. And it's really important to me, and it's really important that I know these administrators to have them there.
I want to add to that, everything he said is absolutely true. But our SROs are also there as the roles of counselors, mentors, leaders. They're there to make these students feel comfortable, and then a lot of times bridge a gap between our students who have negative thoughts about police officers. Our SROs are there to sort of bridge that and say, hey guys, you know, we are okay, we're here for you. And I see that every day with our SRO. He goes out of his way to make relationships with our students, and you know, I think it does, to know that we have an officer there to protect us, to protect our students. And in the event that, you know, things happen, the zero tolerance, you know, it's like everything in life, as long as the kids go along with it and, you know, they're not unruly about it, then things go smoothly. I mean, that's just the way of life. If you break a rule, if you break the law, there's a consequence. And for the most part, our students, when they get in trouble, I mean, they admit they're in trouble, and our SRO handles it wonderfully. So I think it's twofold. It's for our safety, but it's also good for these students to have that contact while they're in school.
These young men and women have a very difficult job. Teaching school is tough. But unfortunately, what I'm seeing in the court system, I've told people, well, what kind of cases did you have today? And I said, well, we had some tobacco possession cases. They're like, hey, that comes to court? I'm like, yeah. Had two girls scuffling in the hallway. Girls like to fight. I don't think that. But boys fight. a lot of times that comes to court. And, you know, I fear that what the school resource officer program is an overwhelming positive for all the reasons that have been mentioned. But I think it's also a handy way for some school officials, people that are in leadership roles, to say, well, I'm going to pass this problem over to law enforcement, when it could be handled in the school. And I know Sheriff Bryan's people are frustrated from time to time when they have things come in. I wonder why a case is in court from time to time. And I tend to ramble on, but I think I've made my point.
I want to say one more thing. I say it's in several speeches, and it's, we're having some failures in the home. This is what we're having. I see a lot of it. You would not believe the number of calls my office gets, and I'm sure yours does too, between 6:30, 7, before school starts. You need to come up here and make little Johnny go to school. And we go. We go. Little Johnny, go to school. Okay. So I'm just saying that is how important it is for these SROs.
One thing was very appalling to me when I came back from Korea after serving there for 13 months. And I came back home and they had, as he said, SROs in the schools. I said, I don't understand that. I said, the only SRO we had when I was coming through school was that long paddle with them holes in it. You know? But that's one of the situations that you have nowadays is discipline. They don't get it at home, so they bring their problem to school, and the teachers have to deal with it. But that's something that we need to come up with as some type of programs to help these families, you know, teach their kids responsibility, respect the law, and all these type of things. But that's something they're not getting at home. So that's one area that I think needs to be addressed, if possible, how we can help these children and their families learn responsibility at home.
What are you seeing in other countries compared to what's taking place here as far as what they all talk about with students and behavior and those type of things?
Well, I think you see problems everywhere. You know what? Children are children, no matter where you are. Whether you're in Germany, Asia, Thailand. But I do see a different kind of respect because education is valued in the home, especially in areas, you know, like Korea, Asia. But there's something else that I see also. When I'm in places like Asia, whether it be China, Hong Kong, they all want their children to have some kind of a Western education too. So if they can get into a Western school, they would be very happy. So there's something here that we're doing right. So I think we have to look at a balance. I tell people everywhere I go, children are the same everywhere. Even in the Holy Land, as I tell people across the country, they aren't all that holy. Children are children. Here are some ingredients that I think are important. You know, you can look at problems at several different levels. The questions we don't ask become the puzzles we do not solve. Let me expand. I do know that there's a problem in the home, but when I'm a principal and the child comes to school, I have to deal with that problem. And what I found myself having to do is to help educate the parent as well. So there are multiple levels of responding to the problem. If I'm in a school where I have problems stemming from home, I'm going to do some things. And I know one of the problems we said, well, we can't get the parents to school. Have an ice cream social, they'll come. Have some food, they'll come. You can do things that will get parents involved. When I was working in an inner city school, we would have an ice cream social in the summer before children came back to school to get them to connect with their teachers. So one of the things I want to do is get parents and teachers to connect. If we can connect, we can do a better job with students. So again, a lot of times I can't do anything about what's going on at home, but I can impact what goes on in the school. We create the environment. There are a lot of people who don't agree with that. I think there are two things that we have to understand, and this is what I've used all my life. There are two ways to get kids to do what you want them to do. This works in Miami, it works in Nashville, it works in Germany, it works in Asia. Two ways to get kids to comply. In a school setting now. Number one, make it pleasant for them who want to be there. Number two, and the one we use too frequently, make it unpleasant when they don't. Now our job is to create that climate where kids want to be there. And so I've created 34 things a teacher can do in the classroom before referring the kid to the office. The classroom and the classroom teacher are important elements in the teaching process and in the rearing the children. So my job then is that now of helping teachers to do a better job in the classroom. How do we work with at-risk children? What are some things we need to do for discipline? I said more than you wanted me to say, and probably not enough of the right thing. But again, creating an atmosphere in the school where all children feel welcome, appreciated, and embraced. And every child needs at least one adult in his or her life in the school who has an insane sense of attachment to their child. When that happens, then you won't have to call the police as often. Thank you.
Going on 3 years now. Those who don't know, Lebanon Housing Authority, in partnership with the city, has a Lebanon police officer who patrols specifically Lebanon Housing. And as a result of that, I won't take very much time, as a result of that arrangement is working great. Those of you notice, if you looked in the Lebanon newspaper, you haven't noticed any kind of crime. It's down, virtually none. And a lot of that is because of the relationship we have with our police officer who does community police officing in Lebanon Housing. The residents know his name. They know who, everybody knows who he is. It's Scooter. I don't think they know his real name, but it's Scooter. His relationship with the residents of Lebanon Housing is so great that Chief, many times, if an episode occurs with one of our residents, and you may send one of your patrolmen, they don't want them, they want Scooter to go. Why? And Scooter might have arrested their child, 2 weeks ago. He has built a relationship with them to where they know that he is a police officer. He can be stern, but at the same time, he understands who he's dealing with, and they understand who they're dealing with. And it creates a great partnership, a relationship.
Will actually return back to the community. Only 3% of the persons that are incarcerated will actually spend their entire life either on death row, which I've worked on, as well as life imprisonment. What we have to keep in mind, reentry is about working with the stakeholders that are within the community to work collaboratively, because these individuals are coming back. I'm sure if I were to ask you to raise your hand, how many of you know someone who has been incarcerated? Would you just mind raising your hand? So all of us know someone. And what we have to understand is that we cannot continue to build prisons to deal with the issue. What has to happen prior to the person coming back is that all the stakeholders, and when I say stakeholders, I'm talking about churches, I'm talking about people within the judiciary, the judges, courts, entrepreneurs, business folk working together to help receive the person back better than they came. One of the things that's facing a lot of them is that they're coming back with no soft skills. no ability to read or to write. One of the things that we're currently doing in the Tennessee Department of Correctional, we're providing those types of services in terms of computer literacy classes being taught. We're in the process of also trying to allow them to receive their CBLs prior to coming back. Many of you may know this or may not know this. At this point in time, under our current commissioner, we are now providing individuals with driver's license, those things that are going to keep them from being able to move about after they get out, moving about legally. They're able to get the Social Security cards. Those things are impediments in terms of them returning and not being able to move about. But more importantly, I would suggest to this community here, Wilson County, if you don't have a reentry council, which would consist of all of the stakeholders that I just talked about, retired teachers, so much as it takes a village to raise a child, we must keep in mind that our sons and daughters, cousins and nephews are returning back here. And the question that we have to ask is, when they return, how do we want them to return? Do we want them to return better or worse? If they return without the things that they need and the community coming together to do such, it simply means that they're going to get on that merry-go-round, they're going to get back on and return back to prison. And get off, come back again. It's a vicious cycle there.
Just thinking about this program coming up and about issues that our country and our community is dealing with, one thing drove home. Everybody in this room, everybody in our community can point out a problem. We turn on a news program, they talk about a problem. Anybody can pick those out. We can say this is something that's gone wrong, this was something that was excessive, this was something that was inappropriate. A higher level of thinking kind of looks at it and says, well, what caused this? How did we get here? You know, things were good before, now they've kind of gotten better. The real geniuses are the ones that come up and say, this is what we can do to fix it.
So many times when I have to reach out to a family, they don't know me, they don't know my intentions, they just see me as, you know, teacher from school, and that, you know, that's their perception. But what I've had to do is I've had to break down those walls, brick by brick, working with our families, showing them that they can trust me, and in turn, I learned to trust them. My first experience 10 years ago was with a wonderful lady in this community, Miss Henrietta Cason. I fell in love with her granddaughter, Gabby. Oh, she was my daughter's age, I just loved Gabby. And I went to meet Miss Henrietta the first time. What are your intentions? What do you want with my granddaughter? I don't trust you. I said, well, I just want to love her. I want to take her home, let her spend time with my daughter. I just want to love her. I said, give me a chance. Give me a chance, Miss Henrietta. To this day, she will tell anybody in this room that I'm her white daughter. And she is my mother. No color, not black or white. I consider her just like a mother, and Gabby is my daughter. And so that didn't happen overnight. That didn't happen. And it's just like Pastor Johnson said, it's fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear, are they going to accept me? Or, you know, there's even a physical fear sometimes. Do I want to go into that neighborhood? Well, yes. Where would Jesus want us to go? I mean, where did he go? You know, if Jesus can go into the places and minister to the people that he did, how are we any different? So you've got to let go of that physical fear, reach out, and then you do have to put yourself on the line and say, okay, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to reach out to these people, and hopefully they'll embrace me. And if they don't, then maybe someone else will come along and take that chance. Just like you said, and my husband tells me this daily, Stephanie, you cannot save them all, but you can at least try to save one.
I've been exposed to this fruit. Part of what we're talking about is exposure. When I was a principal in school, we would go on field trips, and the teachers would all begin to line up the kids who were not going on field trips. And I would say, if we go on this field trip, all children must go, because the very children you're leaving behind need the exposure. You don't know what this is because you haven't been exposed to it. All of you have eaten it, I think, unless you are allergic to it. I guarantee you have eaten it. The problem is you've never known it to be this color, whitish, green, or whatever it is. It's a cucumber. Okay? It's a white cucumber. And if you've never eaten a white cucumber, you might be a little bit put off by trying it. That's bias coming out. That's prejudice coming out. And because you think that all cucumbers should be green, right? So we've got to learn to leave our comfort zones. And most of us do not do that. And we stay in our lane. And as you just mentioned, it's important for us to see what's on the other side of the track.
I believe only the church house can do that. If we're real with who we're supposed to be. And when we do that, I think we'll produce better people. Where do we start? We start with our young, we start with the ones who are coming out. But I believe it's going to take the church and other organizations, but the church in particular, because we've been given that mandate by God, first of all, to reach out to our fellow brothers and our sisters.
What can citizens and law enforcement do to stay safe in these times?
And both.
Both.
Well, first of all, people need to communicate. That's what we're doing here today. People need to talk. Don't leave it inside you. You gotta talk. And we all gotta work together for the main one goal. Whatever that goal is, we all gotta work together. You've got some police departments and the sheriff's department and all emergency personnel around this area they're working together. I can assure you that. But we cannot do our jobs without the public's help. We do not want to go out there and arrest people. I do not want them bringing people into the jail. We wish we didn't have nothing to do. But we gotta have your help as a community, and y'all, for us to help you. We do. And I ask you of that. And I feel that these departments around here are doing a good job at communicating with the community. And we will continue to do that. But we need it to go both directions. Sometimes we lag, sometimes y'all lag, but it needs to go to this two-way street.